name is Jeremy Lato, and today I'm going to discuss the characteristics of a business letter or the essential qualities of a business letters. Let's go!
Okay, let us start with characteristics of a business letter. Okay. First is we have the completeness. What is completeness? It is ensuring that all necessary information is included in the letter, leaving no room for ambiguity or unanswered questions. When writing a business letter, you should consider the what, the 4W and 1 how. 4W and 1 how question. Okay, now this is important to provide recipients with a clear understanding of the message and any associated actions or expectations. Did you get it? It is that one must write a complete message. It helps the reader to know about the issue and the solution to be taken. It should provide all the necessary information. Again, one must also keep in mind that the message should be concise and short along with the complete details. No, it's complete when all the answered questions are put in one message. No ambiguity, no other extra, direct to the point. That is completeness. Just remember the word completeness. Second, we have correctness. Okay. Correctness, on the other hand, refers to the correct grammar, punctuation, spacing, information, and structure. It also refers to the correct format of a business letter. To attain correctness, double check the spelling of the names, address, of course, the names and the address, letters, property, verify numbers and amounts. Always check the dictionary. Of course, it is important that when we write a business letter, all things are correct. Accuracy in grammar, it is important. The spelling and punctuation and the facts is crucial to maintain professionalism and credibility. Of course, if I were to receive a message or a business letter and my name wasn't written right, then I would say that the one who wrote this one don't know where is he sending it. By writing the correct name of the company. Oh, its correctness. It is crucial. Errors can undermine the effectiveness of message and reflect poorly on the sender's attention to detail. Always remember that. Third, when you write a business letter, you should be concise, or conciseness is very important also. Communicating the message clearly and efficiently without unnecessary verbosity, a concise letter respects the reader's time and attention span, making it more likely that the intended message will be understood and acted upon promptly. It is respecting the time of the receiver also. Always remember that when the receiver receives the business letter, he or she is promptly or making it or reading it faster. Or you cannot use any creative or jargon, or you can use jargon but concisely. Concisely means short but simple. Direct to the point. Okay? Always remember that. Conciseness refers to being direct and brief without compromising the complete idea. In writing a business letter, we should not conclude unnecessary information which might confuse the reader. If I am the reader, I should be exact with the information by not compromising the idea. Instead of saying at the present time, you can just say now. In a very simple way now. Instead of saying prior to, you could just say before. Oh. Instead of saying pitch in, you can just saying start from scratch. It is a creative one, so we do not include creative writing. We are in technical writing here. So instead of saying start from scratch, you can just say make new from nothing. Okay? Make new from nothing. Now let's move on to the fourth C, which is the coherence. Coherence is also important. It ensuring that the content of the letter flows logically and is organized in a coherent manner. Okay? Your letter must be coherent. It's either that you lay down your informations there, as long as it is arranged chronologically or systematically, as long as it is coherent and easily understood, then go for it. Coherence helps readers to follow the train of thought and grasp the intended meaning without confusion or misunderstanding. The language used in the business letter must be coherent. Okay, again, the message must be in a logical way for the clear understanding of the message. The flow of the message must be consistent. Okay, consistent. Remember that consistent word. Next is we have clarity. Now, clarity, on the other hand, is expressing in a straightforward and easily understandable. Okay, understandable manner. Clarity is essential to ensure that the message is not misinterpreted. Clear intention is very important, and that the intended meaning is communicated clearly to the recipient or the receiver. The language used in the business letter must be clear. It helps the receiver to understand the message immediately. Okay, easily and clearly. Any ambiguity will lead to the misinterpretation of the message stated. Okay. Now let's move on to the concreteness. Concrete. Okay? We do not use abstract because we use abstract more often on creative writing. Now, concreteness. Let's move on to concreteness. It is providing specific details, facts, and examples to support assertions or requests made in the letter. Concrete language adds credibility to the message and helps readers grasp the importance and relevance of the information presented. Okay. The message written must be concrete and specific. By using concrete language, a reader will have a clear picture of the message. When we say concreteness, it is stating facts, or that the reader's mind or the recipients or the one who will read the intended information to be informed will receive it and then will have a clear picture of what is your intention. That is concreteness. Next is we have number 7, courteousness. It is important that when we write a letter, we show respect. Maintaining a tone of respect and consideration toward the recipient, regardless of the nature of the message. Courteousness fosters good will and positive relationships. Diba? In a business, we are communicating with the recipient. To ensure that we foster good relationship, it should be that we when we write, we show respect. The language used in the business letter must be courteous, a writer must always use open, friendly, and honest wording in his letter. It does not mean that one must use slang and abusive words. One must always add the words like please, thank you, and many more. Diba? It's very simple. Next is we have consideration. Number 8 is consideration. Demonstrating sensitivity to the needs, interest, and concerns of the recipient, considering the recipient's perspective, helps tailor the message to resonate with their priorities and motivations, increasing the likelihood of the favorable response. You wanted to have a favorable response to the message that you intended to inform, then write a business letter that will consider the feeling of the recipient. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. It's consideration. Considering the feeling of the recipient. Okay. Now let's move on to number 9, which is consistency. I've mentioned it before. However, let's talk about consistency this time. Diba? Ensuring that the tone, style, and formatting of the letter are consistent throughout. Consistency contributes to readability and professionalism. It's always been that professionalism word was mentioned. Diba? Consistency is the key. Okay. To understand the message well, you do not go from this point and then go to that point. It should be that consistent and direct to the point. That's what it is. Creating a cohesive impression. Cohesive means one goal. Cohesive impression and reinforcing the credibility of the message. Okay. Now, let's move on to the credibility or the last one, the last C. Credibility, establishing trust and believability by providing accurate information. It is that demonstrating expertise. When you write a business letter, you do not write a business letter when you are not expert of the information you are writing or you are intended to inform. You're intended to instruct. Diba? You want to persuade or something like that your reader or the recipient. Then you cannot persuade him or her. You are not expert of the things that you are, or you're not expert of the information you are writing. And adhering to the ethical standards also. We have to consider that. Credibility is essential for persuading recipients. I've mentioned this before. Eliciting desired responses. We wanted to have these desired responses, then we must show credibility while writing it. Consider credibility. Okay. And maintaining a long-term relationships with the recipients or the one who will receive the message. So those are the qualities that needs to be considered when writing a business letter. Let us understand that by considering this characteristic when drafting a business letter helps ensure that it effectively communicates the intended message, resonates with the recipient, and reflects positively on the sender and their organization. Okay. What are the 10 characteristics or 10 C's of in writing a business letter? It is the completeness, correctness, conciseness, coherence, clarity, concreteness, courteousness, consideration, consistency, credibility. Okay, That's all. Credibility. Those are the 10 characteristics of a business letter. And now let us move on to the elements of a business letter to be discussed by Angel Me Tadle.
Thank you, Mr. Lato. Hello, everyone. I'm Angel May Tadle, and I will be discussing the elements of a business letter. So, let's go. The elements of business letter. First is sender's address. Sender's address typically include sender's name, sender's title if applicable, company name, street address, city, state, zip code, and lastly, country if applicable. These elements are usually aligned to the left-hand side of the page before the date on a business letter. Second of the elements of the business letter is date. Date typically include the date when the letter was written. The date is usually placed at the top of the letter, aligned to the left or right margin. It is essential to include the date to indicate when the letter was composed or sent. Third is the recipient's address. Recipient's address typically include recipient's name, recipient's title or position, company name, street address, city, state, zip code, and lastly, country if sending internationally. Fourth is salutation. Salutation usually consists of formal salutation. Example, Dear Mr. and Miss, and the last name, recipient's title or position if known, and the company name if applicable. Fifth is body. Body typically include introduction. Start with a clear and concise introduction that states the purpose of the letter. And next is main message. This is where you provide the details, explanations, or any necessary information related to the purpose of the letter. Third is supporting information. Include any relevant facts, figures, examples, or evidence to support your main message. Fourth is call to action. Clearly state what you expect the recipients to do or respond to after reading the letter, and make sure to maintain a professional tone throughout the body of the business letter. Sixth is closing. Closing end the letter with a polite closing remark such as sincerely, best regards, followed by your name and position. Seventh is the signature. The signature include your full name. Sign the letter with your full name to identify yourself clearly. Second, your job title. Include your job title or position within the company to indicate your authority or rule. Third is company name. Write the name of the company you represent below your signature for formal correspondence. Lastly is inclusion. The term enclosure is used in English to refer to additional documents or items that are included with a business letter. When mentioning enclosures in a business letter, you typically include the word enclosure or enclosures, followed by a colon and a brief descriptions of the documents or items attached. This helps the recipients know what to expect and ensures that they are aware of all the materials included with the letter. By including this information in a business letter, you can ensure that the recipient is aware of all the additional documents or items that are being sent along with the letter. And that's all for my part, and next discussant is Mr. Lato.
And now, let us move on to the language improvement, which is the active and passive voice. Now, the voice of a verb shows whether the subject is active or passive. The verb is active if the subject performs an action. Just like, for example, Ma'am Ness give this pattern. The subject, Ma'am Ness, performs the action which is the word gives. Ma'am Ness gives the pattern. And the passive of that of that particular sentence or example would be the patterns were given by Ma'am Ness. The patterns were given by Ma'am Ness. Okay, let's use this pattern given by Ma'am Ness in a sentence. Okay, now let's have she plays guitar. Okay, the present tense, or let's start with the simple tenses. The present tense, she plays guitar. That's active. The guitar is played by her. That's passive. Let's move on to the past tense of the simple tenses. She played guitar. That's active. Next, the guitar was played by her. That's passive. Now, the future tense. She will play guitar. She will play the guitar. Let's emphasize the determiner the. She will play the guitar. That's active. Next, the guitar will be played by her. That's passive. Now, let's move on to the continuous tenses. First, present continuous. She is playing the guitar. That's active. The guitar is being played by her. That's passive. Next, let's have the past continuous. She was playing the guitar. Now, next is the guitar was being played by her. That's passive. Now, let's move on to the future continuous. She will be playing the guitar. That's active. And there's no passive in this tense or in this particular. There's no future continuous passive voice in this particular example. Next is we have the perfect tenses. Present perfect. She have played the guitar. That's active. The guitar have been played by her. That's passive voice. Next, let's have past perfect. She had played the guitar. The guitar had been played by her. That's passive. Now, let's move on to the future perfect. She will have played the guitar. The guitar will have been played by her. That's passive. That first sentence I've mentioned was active. Next, let's move on to the perfect continuous. Note that there is no passive in this particular example. Either of this present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, or future perfect continuous. There's no passive. Now let's mention the active voices of this example. First is present perfect continuous. She has been playing the guitar. Past perfect continuous. She had been playing the guitar. Future perfect continuous. She will have been playing the guitar. Okay. Those are that is, if we apply this pattern given by Ma'am Ness in an example, that's the example. She plays guitar. Okay. Now let's have this another example which might emphasize your understanding of the active and passive voice. Okay. Simple tenses. Present tense. Active voice. I do my task. Passive voice. My tasks are done. Past tense. Active voice. I did my tasks. Passive voice. My tasks were done. Future tense. Active voice. I will do my tasks. Passive voice. My tasks will be done. Okay. Continuous. Present continuous. Active. I am doing my tasks. Passive. My tasks are being done. Past continuous. Active. I was doing my tasks. Passive. My tasks were being done. Future continuous. I will be doing my tasks. Passive. No passive. There is no passive in this particular example. In this pattern. Okay. That's the continuous tenses. Now let's move on to the perfect tenses. Present perfect. Active voice. I have done my tasks. Passive. My tasks have been done. Past perfect tense. Active. I had done my tasks. There is no passive in this example. In this past perfect tense. Okay, let's move on to the future perfect. Active. I will have done my tasks. Passive. My tasks will have been done. Okay. And now, let's move on to the perfect continuous. In this particular example, again, there is no passive. However, there is an active voice. Present perfect continuous. Active. I have been doing my tasks. Past perfect continuous. Active. I had been doing my tasks. Future perfect continuous. Active. I will have been doing my tasks. Okay. Now that you know all these patterns or some of these patterns, I hope that you've understood all those examples because those are important in sending messages, informing, and instructing, diba? And technical writing. Have fun learning. And now, may I call in Miss Ria to discuss about the basic parts of a business letter.
Good day, everyone. I am Riami B. Aret, and I'll be discussing the basic parts and optional parts of business letter. So, let's start. The parts of a business letter may be grouped into major parts and minor parts. In major parts or basic parts of a business letter, we have letterhead, date line, inside address, salutation, body of the letter, complimentary close, signature line, and lastly, the written signature. A letterhead is the heading of a letter, may be either your company's letterhead or your full return address. So a letterhead is a heading on the topmost sheet of your business paper. It carries the company name, address, contact details, and logo. A purpose of a letterhead is for your branding to be recognizable across all of your business correspondence. So just like here in the example, it stated that a letterhead composed of the company's name, address, and logo. So here, the Davis Tree Care is their company's name, and under the company's address, and under the company's name is the company's address together with their logo, which is the tree. And in case you will write a business letter not on behalf of any company, you may use a heading or a return address. A heading or return address is composed of your complete, correct, and specific address. The purpose of A heading or return address is for the company to easily contact the sender or the writer of the letter. Just like here in the example. The name stated here is Lisa Johnson and together with her address. So, in case you are not using or you're not on behalf of any company, you may use a heading or a return address, just like this one. Put your name and your address. Next one, we have the date line. And the date line is the date written below. The heading indicates the date when the letter was written. So in writing a date line, we have rules. First, don't use abbreviations, just like here in the example. Here we have 03/24/24, 04/13/20, and the last one is October 20, 1993. October, but the word or the month October here is abbreviated and not stated completely. And the next one is do not include ST and D or TH after the day of the month, just like here in the example. September 1st, October 2nd, or November 3rd. But you may use the conventional style January 15, 2007, or the military style, 15 January 2007. So the style that you may use in writing your date line should be conventional style, just like here in the example. She completely put the month, which is a September, and together with the date and the year. So your date line should be written completely, just like here in the example. The next one, we have the inside address. So the inside address is the receiver's name and job title, as well as the company's name and address. So we have also rules in writing inside address. The inside address is like the address written on the envelope. And then second one, use Ms. for a single woman, Mrs. if married, and if the status is unknown, use Miss. So now we learned that those words have different meanings and different use. So be careful when using these words. Next one, we use Mr. in addressing a man. Next rule, you can abbreviate the title doctor to DR. For example, Dr. Sylvia C. Ambag. So you can abbreviate the word doctor to DR. Next one, the title revered should not be abbreviated and it should be preceded by. Just like here in the example, the Revered Sonny Ramirez. So, information, revered is the word for those people who work at the church, work in the church. So, you should not abbreviate the word revered and should be addressed completely. Next one, do not abbreviate the title professor. Just like here in the example, Professor Danilova A. Lorenzo or Prof. Danilova A. Lorenzo. So you should use the first example, which is Professor Danilova A. Lorenzo. The first example here, write the full word professor, just not like in the second one, which is the word professor is abbreviated. So, put completely the title professor when you are addressing to a professor. So the second example is Professor Lorenzo. Use this when you don't know the name of that professor or that person. You don't know their name. Just use their title. Just state their title together with their surname. Next one, company or organization positions such as supervisor, manager, etc. may either precede or follow the name of the receiver of the letter. So for example here, Miss Army Joy A. Rivera. Below his name, her name is his position, which is manager. And their company's name is Coca-Cola Enterprises Inc. And the second example is Miss Army Joy A. Rivera. And beside her name is her position. And then also she write her company's name, which is the Coca-Cola Enterprises Inc. So in writing your inside address, you can choose whether you put your position under your name or put your position beside your name. When you have a position in company or organization, just like supervisor, manager, and etc. The next one, don't abbreviate the title honorable. The title honorable is used by judges of the court, members of the cabinet, congressmen, senators, or other government officials who hold an important position and office in the city, province, or country. So when you use the word honorable or title honorable, you should put completely the word honorable. Just like here in the example, Honorable Rodrigo R. Duterte or Honorable Rodrigo R. Duterte. So you should use the first example here, which is stated the complete word honorable. So don't abbreviate the honorable to HON. Okay? Just like here in the example. Diba? Here in the inside address, the the name or the name of the person she or he's writing to is Dr. Jane Halliwell. So just like what I said earlier, the title doctor can be abbreviated. So it's okay here in his letter. It's okay and it is acceptable in writing an inside address because the title doctor is I can be abbreviated and together with the doctor's company's name and then the address. So the next one, so the next basic parts of business letter, we have salutation. Salutation is composed of the word dear followed by the last name of the receiver. Use colon or comma. Example, Dear Mr. Alcazar. The first example is using the colon. And the second example, Dear Mr. De La Cruz, using a comma in the last in the end of the word. So in writing your salutation, there is always a word dear, and then use colon or comma in the end of the word or the surname of the person you are writing to. The next one, we have the body of the letter. Body of the letter, this consists the message of the writer. So, when you're writing the body of the letter, keep your sentences concise and make sure your paragraph is less than 7. And when you're writing the body of the letter, in the first paragraph, introduce yourself and the main point of your letter. Following paragraphs should go into the details of your main point
while your final paragraph should restate the letter's purpose and provide a call to action. Some claim that the first and the last sentences are the most important parts of the body of the letter. The first sentence should make the reader feel at ease, and the last sentence should make the reader pleased and content. The sixth one, we have the complementary clause. This is sometimes called closing, and this is equivalent of a formal goodbye. So when you are writing your complementary clause, you can use the word sincerely, respectfully, sincerely yours, and so on. Capitalize only the first letter of the first word. Next, we have the signature line. This composed of the complete typewritten name of the writer and his official designation or the name of the company. Just like here in the example, Miranda Lawson. And below her name is there is her position and the name of their company, which is she is the director of marketing, and then the name of their company is Mass Airlines. So the signature line is composed of your complete typewritten name, and then the name of your company or your position. Next one, we have the written signature. This refers to the sender clearly scribing or affixing his specimen signature and the space between the complementary clause and the printed name. So as we can see here in the example, the signature of the sender is in between the complementary clause and the signature line or the printed name.